Beings of light, the search for spiritual wisdom is an ancient journey, one that spans centuries and millennia. Throughout history, great figures have arisen to illuminate humanity's path, and one of them, in a unique and profound way, is Hermes Trismegistus. This legendary being not only crossed the boundaries of the material world, but also united the Egyptian and Greek traditions, creating a legacy that endures to this day. Today, we are going to dive deeper into his story and the wisdom he left behind as a beacon for those who seek the truth. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great as he is known, is a fusion of the figures of Hermes, the winged messenger of the gods in Greek mythology, and Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, and magic, with the head of an ibis. The figure of Hermes Trismegistus is not limited to a historical being, but rather an archetype that transcends time, embodying the deep and mystical knowledge that shaped ancient civilizations. In antiquity, it was believed that Hermes and Thoth were, in fact, the same entity. Both had a primary function: to guide souls in the afterlife, providing clarity and understanding of what comes after death. Thoth, in particular, was considered the inventor of writing and language, and his words were held as the key to unlocking divine and human mysteries. Writing, in fact, played an essential role in all accumulated knowledge throughout history, and Thoth is often portrayed as the heart and voice of Ra, the supreme Egyptian god. When, during the Hellenistic era, the Greek and Egyptian cultures merged, Hermes Trismegistus was born, the representation of divine and human knowledge, who would guide those who sought it along a path of cosmic enlightenment. His teachings are at the heart of what we know as Hermeticism, a body of wisdom that explores everything from the principles of creation to the origin and nature of the human soul, touching on topics such as astrology, alchemy, magic, and healing. Hermes Trismegistus is credited as the author of the Emerald Tablet, a mystical and enigmatic text that became one of the most important sources of Hermetic philosophy. The famous maxim, "as above, so below," present in that tablet, is one of the pillars of understanding the universe, establishing the connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm. This concept spread across various fields, deeply influencing astrology, alchemy, and other esoteric sciences, which view the universe as a perfect and interconnected reflection, where what occurs in the heavens also manifests on Earth. However, when we refer to Hermes as a myth, we are acknowledging that he goes beyond the historical figure. He represents a universal archetype, the master who guides all truth seekers. He is, in a sense, the great symbol of spiritual knowledge and inner transformation, something that transcends time and space. Hermes is the embodiment of universal wisdom, the voice of those who seek to understand the infinite, the language that connects all beings, and the link between the divine and the human. As we reflect on the importance of Hermes Trismegistus, it is impossible not to ask ourselves how a figure that combines so many aspects of divine wisdom managed to survive through the centuries. How do these words and teachings, many of which are lost, continue to resonate so strongly in our hearts, even in modern times? How can a set of teachings that crosses eras still awaken in us the desire to attain divine wisdom? This pursuit of wisdom is eternal, and like Hermes, we are all called to walk our own path of transformation. But how can we, in today's world, apply Hermetic teachings in our lives? Let us continue on this journey together, exploring how these ancient truths can still guide us today toward clarity and deep understanding of our existence. As time passed, the legacy of Hermes Trismegistus was not confined to the past. On the contrary, his wisdom crossed centuries, touching the hearts and minds of many who, in different periods of history, sought to understand the mystery of life, the soul, and the cosmos. In the 15th century, Hermeticism was reborn in an impressive way, rediscovered by Renaissance scholars who believed that the writings of Hermes Trismegistus were the key to a lost divine wisdom. This revival brought forth a new understanding that spiritual knowledge was not a relic of the past, but something that could transform human life in modern times. It was during this period of revaluation of hidden knowledge that two Italian scholars, Marsilio Ficino and Ludovico Lazzari, played essential roles in translating the Hermetic texts. Ficino, especially, was in the midst of translating the works of Plato when he received a manuscript of the Corpus Hermeticum. This discovery was like a bolt of light, illuminating the path of a new kind of knowledge. He paused his translation of Plato and dedicated himself entirely to the study of what he believed to be the lost wisdom of the ancients. The Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of mystical and spiritual writings, came to be seen as a source of divine wisdom, a guide to spiritual elevation, and a bridge between man and the cosmos. The rebirth of Hermeticism was more than a mere rediscovery of ancient texts. It represented a revolution in the way people viewed the universe and their role within it. During the Renaissance, the idea of a universal and divine wisdom passed on to the ancient sages and preserved through time took on new meaning. For many thinkers of the time, this wisdom was waiting to be rescued, to be reintroduced to the modern world to correct the evils of materialism and moral decay. It was as if humanity, having strayed from the truth, needed a spiritual renewal, something Hermetic teachings could provide. Ficino and Lazzari were not alone. The impact of Hermeticism spread throughout the European continent, influencing esoteric movements, secret societies, and even philosophers and scientists of the time. The Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn were some of the societies that nourished themselves with this wisdom, using it to shape their spiritual and philosophical practices. The idea that Hermetic knowledge could lead to enlightenment, the awakening of the soul, and reconciliation with the divine became a beacon for those who wished to transcend the limits of material experience. However, Hermeticism was not just a philosophy of intellect and study. It was, and still is, a deep spiritual journey, a search for true wisdom that transcends words and rational explanations. Gnosis, the intuitive and revealed knowledge that lies at the heart of Hermeticism, is something that can only be attained through direct experience. Hermetic writings invite us to look beyond the veil of physical reality and understand the true nature of the universe, the soul, and the divine. They invite us to see the world with spiritual eyes, to perceive the interconnectedness of all things, and to seek unity with the divine. Even in the face of criticism from modern scholars such as Isaac Calbum, who questioned the origins of Hermetic texts and their authenticity, the quest for Hermetic wisdom never completely disappeared. Hermeticism remained a vital force, present in the shadows, waiting for the opportunity to illuminate the minds and hearts of those willing to seek the truth beyond appearances. It is like a flame that never goes out, always waiting to be rediscovered by those ready to look more deeply. Now, beloved ones, let us reflect. How do these teachings, which have crossed the ages, still resonate in our lives today? How can we integrate the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus into our quest for self-knowledge and spiritual growth? Hermeticism continues to teach us that true wisdom is not acquired solely through intellect, but through direct experience and connection with the divine. Now that we understand the resurrection of Hermeticism in the Renaissance and its importance throughout history, it is time to delve into the two fundamental branches of this ancient wisdom: technical Hermeticism and religious philosophical Hermeticism. Each of these branches offers a unique key to understanding the universe and humanity's role within it. Together, they invite us on an inner journey of transformation and enlightenment, guiding us toward a deep understanding of ourselves and the cosmos. Technical Hermeticism is the practical path, involving the study and application of disciplines such as astrology, alchemy, medicine, botany, and magic. These practices were seen as ways to interact directly with the cosmic and natural forces that govern the universe. Astrology, for example, teaches us that the cosmos and the Earth are interconnected and that the movements of the stars profoundly influence our lives. Alchemy, with its quest for the transmutation of substances and the soul itself, seeks not only to transform metals, but also the essence of the human being, leading them to their highest version. These practices are, at their core, ways to connect with universal harmony and understand the invisible laws that govern reality. Religious philosophical Hermeticism, on the other hand, is a more internal, mystical, and spiritual journey. It leads us to a profound understanding of the divine and our place in the universe. On this path, we are invited to dive into texts such as the Corpus Hermeticum, which teaches us about the unity between man and the cosmos, the divine origin of the soul, and the quest for gnosis, that is, direct and transformative knowledge. Through meditation, reflection, and silence, religious Hermeticism guides us beyond the limitations of the rational mind, allowing us to experience spiritual truth directly. At the center of all this teaching is the idea that the universe is not merely a material reality, but a manifestation of divine wisdom. As Hermes teaches us, as above, so below. What occurs in the heavens is reflected on earth, and what happens on the spiritual plane is reflected in the physical. This teaches us that by understanding the universal laws and aligning ourselves with them, we can live more fully and harmoniously, in tune with the divine. Beloved ones, what is offered to us in these Hermetic teachings is more than knowledge. It is an invitation to profound transformation. Hermeticism calls us to look within, to transcend the limitations of matter, and to recognize the divinity that exists in each of us. It challenges us to live in harmony with the universe, to follow the path of wisdom, and to experience unity with the divine. Now, I invite you to reflect. How can these two branches of Hermeticism, the technical and the religious philosophical, manifest in your life? In what ways can you apply these teachings in your daily life to achieve a greater understanding of yourself and the cosmos? How can we, together, walk this path of self-knowledge and enlightenment? Share your reflections in the comments, and let's continue this journey of discovery and growth. Hermeticism, with its timeless wisdom, still has much to teach us, and each of us is an essential part of this cosmic journey.